Imagine you have job offers from two companies. In both, you would work on similar projects and you'd receive a similar income. What do? Well, obviously, you go learn German. Oh, sorry, don't quite know what happened there. But if you need inside information on a company, my advice is you go on Kununu or Glassdoor. These are sites where employees can give a review on how working in that company actually is. You just type in the name of the company and it shows you a rating plus comments. And for me, those ratings have been quite on point. One company I worked for had a 2.5 out of 5 stars rating, and besides comparatively low wages and a toxic working culture, the big boss was also a choleric who once fired an employee because she told him her opinion. Great place. My experience in the next company, which had a 3.5 star rating, was considerably better in all aspects. Definitely not perfect, but mostly pleasant to work for. Right now, I'm working for a 3.8 star university and I really enjoy working here. Definitely helps that I have great colleagues and tasks, but it's great nonetheless. Besides me telling you, why should you take these pages seriously? Well, for one, there are some big German companies like Deutsche Telekom, Volkswagen and Siemens who have heavily invested into their profiles on kununu in recent years. And therefore, it seems that those companies take these platforms seriously. And so does science. One study concludes that applicants do gain a valid picture of employee satisfaction in a company by checking their rating on Glassdoor. But the researchers also added that only dramatically higher or lower ratings carry actual meaning. So my current 3.8 star employer doesn't necessarily have to be objectively better than my former 3.5 star employer, but working for either of those is definitely better than life at the first company I mentioned. But Andre, I hear you say, it's still the internet. What about people wanting to hurt a company's reputation or, on the other hand, companies trying to buy good reviews? Well, that's a good point indeed. For reviewing sites in general, one can expect a rate of fake posts between 10 and 30%, but Kununu, for example, is actively working on fighting fake reviews with a series of techniques. And so far there are no indications of companies in Germany buying reviews to boost their ratings. It seems we really can use these pages to get an idea on how well one will be treated in a certain company. You can also use these pages to specifically look for companies in your field that have a high rating and therefore promise to be a good employer. However, don't lose heart if right now you only have job offers from companies with lower ratings. I've been there and many others as well. And you still might have a good time there. One way or the other, in the end, you will gain experience. And then, with that experience and then Arbeitszeugnis, you can rise to the better rated companies. Now, if this video or one of my others has helped you, you would do me a great favor if you were to share it with someone who might benefit from it as well. Maybe a friend could use this information, or maybe you can even share it on a relevant Facebook group or on your LinkedIn profile. That would help me out a lot. Thanks a lot for your support. But now we get to the real beauty in what this data can tell you about a company. Two papers claim that employee satisfaction and profitability are going hand in hand. One group of research even goes so far as to say that employee satisfaction positively impacts corporate performance. According to an additional study, one can actually predict how well the company stock will do in the next 5 years by looking at the employer satisfaction on Glassdoor. Meaning that the more happy a company's employees are, the more financially secure their future. Which is again supported by another study that found that companies with high employee satisfaction rating find it easier to receive further external financing. It gets even more interesting with a more recent paper. This one claims that the likelihood of a company committing any violations of laws and regulations, like fraud and misreporting, can be determined by examining Glassdoor reviews. This ties into an earlier study that concluded that companies with low levels of reported employee satisfaction have a higher likelihood to be tied into fraud investigations and class action lawsuits. Following this information, I wouldn't be surprised if authorities closely monitor companies that have low ratings on Glassdoor and kununu. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Now go and learn German.